All right, welcome to Women's Studies 201, WGS 201. You can see up on the screen right now the syllabus, the first page of the syllabus for this course. So this is Introduction to Women's and Gender Studies in the Arts and Humanities, which is an online course for spring 2013 semester. In this video, I'd just like to welcome everyone to the course, give a brief overview of what the course is about, what you can expect, and show you a little bit about how to navigate Blackboard and some of the most important parts of the syllabus. So to begin, and I'm just going to leave the syllabus up on the screen for right now. This, as I said, class is Women's Studies or Introduction to Women's and Gender Studies in the Arts and Humanities. My name is Amanda Morris. I'm the instructor for this course. Just to introduce myself a little bit, I am teaching out of Somerset Community College. I know some of you are Somerset students and some of you may be taking this course through another college. I primarily teach English classes. I teach writing. English 101 and 102 is primarily what I teach, but in the spring semester I do teach this Women's Studies course. I want to explain a little bit about what this course is about. You can read that also on the course philosophy here on the syllabus. And basically, as I explained here on the syllabus, what I want to do in this class, or what I want us to do, is look at issues that you might look at in a lot of courses. Like we'll talk about race, and we'll talk about the workplace, and we'll talk about the military, and we'll talk about healthcare, and all kinds of different issues. But what makes this class different is that we'll be looking at those issues through the lens of a woman's experience. So, what, for instance, are the unique struggles that women might have in terms of the workplace or in terms of healthcare and those sorts of things. And how this class is different from, there's another class called Women and Gender Studies in the Social Sciences, and this is Arts and Humanities. It's just that we're going to tend to look at more cultural issues that are more unique to like the humanities, like art, music, everyday life, pop culture, television, media, those sorts of things, as opposed to the sciences. And so a lot of our readings are going to be geared toward those kinds of things. And, a lot of people have the idea, and we're going to talk more about this in especially week 2 of the class and moving forward. But for right now, I just want to kind of explain that, this class is intended for people who may go on and take more women's studies courses, or this could be a standalone course to just kind of broaden your horizons on women's issues and women's studies. Sorry about that. I want to explain a little bit about how the course is structured. This is an online course, so I want to show you Blackboard for this course. So this is our Blackboard shell. Right now it's going to be a little sparse because this is before the semester is starting. You will notice when you log in over here on the left side, you'll have your tabs for different sections of the course. Announcements is just what it sounds like. That's where I will post announcements, and that's where you will actually be finding the link to this video when you first enter the course. But throughout the semester, I'll just post reminders here, upcoming deadlines. If there's a current event or I come across an article that I think would be particularly relevant to what we're talking about, I may post it there. So that's there won't be any surprises there, but mainly just reminders. If you look at the next tab, that's called Navigating the Course. Now, there's going to be several things here that are going to be very useful to you. Under this Navigating the Course menu, there's a document that will do exactly what I'm doing right now, that explains verbally in text what each of these sections of Blackboard are intended to do. So if ever you need to review quickly and you don't want to rewatch this whole video, you can just access this document. Now, the next item is how the course is going to be structured week to week. And basically you have, the way the course is set up is you have some weekly assignments, and then you have throughout the semester some short papers and a couple of tests. But basically, you're going to have this step-by-step, this 5-step process. You don't have to do them necessarily in this order, but these 5 steps each week. So you'll be given a reading assignment each week out of your textbook, and if I may have some supplemental readings at times, if so, they'll be linked on Blackboard. Then I will post what I'm calling critical thinking and study questions. These are questions related to the reading that I encourage you to research for yourself, but that I will also cover in lecture. You are not responsible, as it says here, you are not responsible for answering these questions and turning them in any way. They are just, as I say here, thinking questions and study questions, and I will cover them in the lecture. So also each week I will have a lecture posted, and this will be a video, much like this. It will look a little bit different because I used a different program to do them, but it will be linked on YouTube. So you'll get a link every week to a lecture, which will discuss the reading for that week and all of those critical thinking and study questions. So you can, my advice would be to perhaps print out those study questions, take notes while you're listening to the lecture. The lectures are intended, most of them are around an hour. I would say some of them are a little bit longer depending on the chapter and how complicated it is. The way I thought about this is if ours were a class that we're meeting once a week, we would be meeting for 2.5 hours, and so half of that might be lecture and the other half would be discussion. So that's kind of the ballpark that I go for on the lectures. Then in terms of what you're graded on, because all of that's just listening, what you're graded on each week are 2 writing assignments. One is a discussion board assignment. This is where I will give you a prompt, and usually it has to do with the reading pretty specifically, and what you're asked to do is respond to that prompt on the discussion board, and I'll show you that in a minute. And then once your classmates have also responded, then go back and respond to your classmates, because we want to try to recreate discussion like we might have in a face-to-face classroom but online. And you are graded on that. In the syllabus, it's explained how that's graded, and I'll go over that a little bit later. Each week, you're also required to do a reflection journal. This is something that only you and I see. It is not accessible by other students in the course. And it's more, as it says, reflective. Like in the discussion board, I'm really looking to see that you read the material and that you were able to retain what you read and put that in writing, and that you're able to exchange ideas with other people. That's really what I'm looking for when I'm grading the discussion board. When I'm grading the reflection journal, I'm looking to see you kind of taking these ideas in, reflecting more on how they apply to your own life, and those sorts of things. And so you'll see different kinds of prompts that I'll give you. I'll give you a prompt every week for the journal as well. So each week you'll do 2 very short, neither one of them are very lengthy, but 2 very short writing assignments each week, which you will be graded on. Also in this section, I have a step-by-step process of how to upload to SafeAssign. This is how you will turn in the papers that you have in the class, which we'll talk more about in a second, but there's instructions here if you ever forget how to do that. And then, as I said, I teach English primarily, so I have a section here on how to document your essays using MLA format. You may or may not be familiar with that, and how to avoid plagiarism. So I highly recommend that you look at this section, and I'm going to open it up. And in this folder, here's the first section is about how to format an essay, so your font, your spacing, all of that. A PowerPoint here that you can view where I explain kind of what my view of plagiarism is, some examples of it, that sort of thing. And then 2 different resources here for, again, how to use sources ethically and effectively in your writing. So, like I said, I strongly encourage you to look at these and ask any questions that you may have about how to do this in your writing, because I know everyone's going to have a different writing background, but I want you to be familiar with these guidelines. So that's navigating the course. If you move on down to syllabus and schedule, here's the syllabus for the course, which I will go through in a little bit more detail here in a moment, but you can access it at any point here. And then this is a week-by-week schedule of the class. So here you can see each week what we will be covering for the most part. in terms of the basic chapters of your book. We will get through your entire textbook. You can see here on some weeks where you have a paper due, like here your first paper is due February 19th, when your midterm is, when your other papers are due, when your final is, and you can see, here when the dates, when all major deadlines are. If these were to change, I will let you know as soon as I make a change. I don't anticipate them changing, but you never know. Week to week, though, there may be some additional readings thrown in here. So this is not a complete list. This is just a very general overview. You would still want to look week to week in terms of what your assignments are. And I'll show you in a second where all that will be. So that's the syllabus and schedule. Under writing projects, you have 3 short essays in this class. None of them are very long. The prompts for those are in this folder, so the assignment prompts, I'll show you those. So there's 3. Here's the prompts that you can open and their due dates and all the particulars on what kind of essay it is, what you should do in it, those sorts of things are there. Here is where you will submit them to Safe Assign. So if you click on this is how you'll turn them in. Okay. Here's instructions again on how to do it, and for each essay you have a different link here to submit to Safe Assign. So just read the instructions here for how to upload to Safe Assign, follow those instructions, email me with any questions, and turn in your essays, as they become due. Also in this writing projects folder, here's the rubric that I'll use to grade your essays. Okay. And then I have a couple of folders for your second and third paper, just some resources, links that you might find useful, different sets of guidelines. So, as you get to those, take a look at those folders. You have your exam section. Right now, there's not anything there. You will have a midterm and a final in this class. I will provide a study guide for both of those. And I'll talk a little bit more about those when I go over the syllabus, but here's where they are. And when the exam is available, it will show up here in this section. The discussion board, as I said, you'll do one of these every week. There's already a few weeks that are open to you. Here is a section where you can just ask general questions about the course, clarification on an assignment, things that you have a question about how to do something or where something is, and you want to post it here because you think other people might have the same question. I did create a forum for if you guys just want to chat about other things, get to know each other. There's a place for you to do that. And then you'll notice there's one for each week. And I'll just show you week 1 to show you how this works. So, like if you click on the discussion board for week 1, and the instructions are all here about how you post, but I'll show you really quickly. You'll see the assignment prompt. It'll be published by me. Okay, so this one's already been posted. So you'll click on the assignment prompt, open it up, and it'll tell you what you're asked to respond to. Okay, so here, for example, is the prompt for week 1. Okay, so after you've read that, just go back to the forum here where you'll see the assignment prompt, and then you'll create a thread. So just click create thread for when you're ready to answer. Okay, title it something. I advise just putting your name there. Type out your response, okay, whatever your response is to the prompt, and then hit submit, okay. And then to respond to other people's, you'll just go in and read their response. I'll show you on this one. So, like if you were going to respond, pretend this was someone's answer, okay, to the prompt, and you read it and you wanted to reply to them. You agreed with them and you wanted to add to what they were saying. You wanted to give an example, whatever. You would click reply. Okay. Now a note on this, the way this is graded is I will give you 10 points, or it's possible to get 10 points for your response. So, and what I'm looking for in your response is obviously that you fully answer the question, whatever it was, and there may be multiple parts to it. So if there's multiple parts, you answer all of them. And again, I'm looking to see that you read. Okay, that you read the material and that you understood it. You read it, you listened to the lecture, and you're able to explain it. So that's worth 10 points. You're required to respond to 2 different classmates, or respond at least twice. Okay. And in that, what you want to avoid is just saying, I agree with you. Okay. I mean, it's great if you agree. That's fine. But if you say, I agree, and then explain why, or give an example. Again, we're trying to create actual discussion, not just nodding back and forth at each other. So, again, it's fine to agree, but I would like to see more than just, I agree with you, and that be the end of your comment. Explain why you agree, what you liked about what they said, or if you disagree with them, why do you see it differently, and that sort of thing. And each of your responses there is worth 3 points. So you can get a possible total of 16 points for each week of discussion. Okay. So that's the discussion board. And you can edit your post, you can delete your post, and you'll see here, there's one for every week. So, and right now some of them are not available, okay, but as you get to them, they will become available. I try to keep the week that we're in and the next week open, and then I'll open additional weeks as we go. I don't want people working way ahead. So you usually have the current week plus the next week open in case you want to work ahead just a little bit. Reflection journals, like I said, you'll have a prompt for that every week. The way this works, notice right now it says 0 entries, and notice it says private. No one can see that but me. But you'll click on this weekly reflection journal. It'll come up here, give you the instructions, and then you just say create journal entry and title it something. And just, again, week 1 or something like that. And you can either type your journal entry or you can type it in a separate document and attach it, whichever you're more comfortable with. And then just click post, okay, when you're done with that. The journal entries do have a length requirement because I do want to see some thought there. They're 300 words, so it's pretty short. That's about a little less than a page double spaced. But at whatever word processing program you're using, you can just look at the word count on it, and it should tell you about how many words you have. So somewhere around 300 words. Which, like I said, is about a page double spaced if you've got regular margins and font and all that stuff. So I'll let you know if it's shorter than it needs to be so that you can correct that in the future. Now, like I said, where you'll spend most of your time or where you'll get your assignments each week is in these weekly tabs. And right now you just see week 1 and 2. By the end of the semester, there'll be 15 of them. Okay. So each week they'll be laid out exactly the same way. The first item will be your reading. So this is where I'll tell you what you need to read for that week. Like, for example, in week 1, it's nothing out of your textbook. It's 2 things that I've given you. Usually it'll be something out of your textbook. Okay, but here's what the reading is, and then after that I'll put what those critical thinking or study questions are. Okay, which again you don't have to answer and turn in, but I do recommend that you maybe print out and take notes while you're listening to the lecture. Next will be the lecture. Now, to access the lecture, you just click a link here. You click on the word lecture, and it should open in a new tab, and it will be a YouTube video. And I'm going to turn the volume off. And you will be able to watch, like, this is week 1's lecture for our class. And so each week, when you get to click lecture here, it will open up to the correct YouTube video. A note on the lectures. I've taught this class. This is the second time I've taught this class, and I'm reusing my lectures. I was really happy with them, and so I'm not re-recording all of them. So what that means is that these were recorded last spring, so January through April or May of 2012. So while the book content is exactly the same, I may have, I'm sure I did at times, reference current events. So if that throws you, don't be confused. It's not that you've missed something or forgotten something. It's just that I recorded the lectures last year, and so some of the examples may be from current events that happened last year. So, but like I said, the book content is all exactly the same. So in terms of what you'll be tested on and that sort of thing, it's exactly what you need. Also, if there are any dates, like due dates referred to in the lecture, just disregard those because, again, they were recorded earlier. And any due dates, you always go by what's posted on Blackboard. All right. So your lecture, then your discussion board prompt will be here. It'll also be in the discussion board section, but it's listed here along with the directions. And then this is where you'll get your reflection journal assignment. So this is what you need to respond to in your journal for that week. And for each one of these, you can click on this to immediately go to your journal, or click on this to immediately go to the discussion board. So however you wish to get there, but each week is the same. So there's week 1. Week 2 is organized the exact same way. Here's your reading for the week. I tell you what you need to read out of your textbook. Here's the questions that I'll cover in lecture. You'll click on this to access the lecture. Here's your discussion board prompt, and here's your journal prompt. So each week it'll be laid out exactly the same. And then we'll just work week by week through the class. This is your grade section. Right now, of course, there's not going to be anything there, but you can see once you start having grades, they will start showing up here. You'll be able to see what your current average is once you start having grades, and then how it breaks down into different categories. Okay. In the links and tutorials section, these are just some resources that I've compiled that I think will be helpful. I'm not going to go through all of these, but some of them have to do specifically with women's studies. Some are to help you with research. Some are to help you with writing. I do want to show you this section. It's video tutorials. These are some tutorials I made in my English courses. So, for example, here's a video about MLA format. So, it's very similar to this video, only I walk you through how to format an essay. Alright, so you can do that, how to send an email through Blackboard if you're not familiar how to do that, how to conduct research through KCTCS, or in my case, SCC's library. And then a video for how to upload to SafeAssign. So, if I realize that we need more tutorials, I may make more, but for right now, there are 4 there that you can access. So again, this is nothing that you have to use, these tutorials or links, but they're all things that I think would be very, very useful and could certainly give you an advantage in the course if you take advantage of them. Right? In the email section, this just takes you directly to where you can email. So either me, you can just send it to all instructors, or if you were to need to email your classmates for some reason. I don't know why you would need to, but if you needed to, you could email everyone in the class, or you could go in and select a certain person to email. Okay. Then this just takes you to Blackboard tools, so if you need any of those things, and then Blackboard help. Okay, so if you are having a Blackboard problem, and I can't help you with it, then this would take you to Blackboard help. Okay. So that's an overview of Blackboard. We've already talked about a lot on the syllabus, but I do want to go over just a few things. Remember that the syllabus is like a contract, so by you staying in this course, you are agreeing to go by the syllabus. So my contact information is on here. I assume primarily the way you'll get in touch with me is email. And my email is listed right here. It's just amanda.morris@kctcs.edu. If you were to need to call me, my office number is here, and if you are on the Somerset campus in London is where I'm located, these are my office hours and my office location. So there is the course description, which we went over. These are general education, so what this class is designed to do in terms of your overall degree. Okay. There are 2 textbooks for this class. I'll show you pictures of what they look like. The primary textbook looks like this. It's by Susan Shaw and Janet Lee. It's called Women's Voices, Feminist Vision. So we will use every week except week 1. Okay, we will get through this entire book. So this is your primary textbook. Your other textbook, which we won't use every week, but we will use some, is called the Norton Book of Women's Lives, and it looks like this. It's edited by Phyllis Rose. Okay, and I will let you know on those weekly tabs when you go to see what your assignment is for the week. It will tell you what you need to read out of each book. This is where your grade comes from. You can see how much everything counts. So like those weekly journals and discussion boards are each worth 15%. Your midterm is 15%. Your first 2 papers are both worth 10%, and then your final paper is 15%, and your final exam is 20%. So everything's pretty even. There's not a huge chunk of your grade riding on one thing. Okay, so you need to be consistent across the board. And you can see due dates here for like you'll have a week's window or several days window there to take your final exam. You'll have several days to take your midterm exam, and then you see the due dates and the length requirements for your papers. Okay. So just to go over some of these policies, this just explains how the course is structured. So we went over that, each week you have readings, lecture, discussion board, and journal. I explained here how I grade the discussion board. So again, 10 points for your response, 3 points each for your response to your peers, and then I'm looking to see that you read, okay, and that you've put thought into your response. The journals are each worth 10 points each, okay, and again, the length requirement is listed here, and I'm looking for here that you are interacting with these ideas and applying them to your life. The exams, you'll take 2 exams, a midterm exam and a final exam. It'll be a mixture of a multiple choice and true-false questions. That's the bulk of the exam. And then some very short essays. And by short essays, I mean like a couple of paragraphs. Not a sentence, but I'm not looking for a paper. Okay? And I will give you the possible essay questions ahead of time. And then when you take the exam, you'll have some to choose from, and you'll choose to answer, 2 or 3 or however many I'm asking for on the exam. So, and I will give you a study guide well in advance of you taking either exam. And just as a note, I assume you're going to be using your book on your exam. So, the exam, the essays in particular, I expect, detailed answers because I'm assuming you are using your textbook. You'll have 3 writing assignments. Those prompts, I showed you where they are on Blackboard. Again, it's broken down here, basically the differences between them. The first one really asks you to interview a woman that you know, okay? And you're profiling her and kind of getting her, I guess, feelings or thoughts or how her life matches up with some of the things we've been talking about in class. Okay, it's not just a story about her. It's who she is and then how that can relate to what we've been talking about in the class. The biography and impact paper asks you to kind of write a short biography and then describe kind of the impact that a notable woman has had, so like a famous woman. And then your final paper asks you to look at some issue or topic from the course. Okay, and again, the more details about all of these are available in that writing assignment section. There are length requirements for all these assignments. You can see here the penalties for not meeting length. Okay, so do take note of those. Late work, again, this is an online course, so it's not the same as a face-to-face course. So everything is set up on kind of a weekly schedule. So you can wait till the last minute. That's up to you if you want to do everything. Everything's usually due on a Monday, from a Monday to a Monday is how I set it up. And if you want to wait till Monday to do it all, that's perfectly fine. But there are some penalties if things are late. So it's, the equivalent of a letter grade. So if that's 1 point, if it's worth 10 points, or if it's 10 points, if it's worth 100, there are some late penalties. If you run into an emergency, okay, you need to let me know as soon as you can. And last minute computer problems are not an emergency. That's why you don't wait till the last minute. So, but just stay in contact if you do have some kind of issue. Like I said, everything that you write, like your papers and your journals and things, should be MLA format. I've described what that is here. There's multiple sections in navigating the course and in the links section and tutorials on how to do this. So just follow those guidelines and you'll be fine. Because we do have class discussion in the discussion board, obviously we're allowed to disagree. It's great even when we disagree, but obviously we want to be respectful of each other's opinions. So, if there's anything that is racist, sexist, any kind of hate speech of any kind, I'm not going to tolerate that. I'll delete your comments, and you'll lose points on the assignment. So just be respectful. If you get angry, walk away from the computer and come back and write when you're not angry. Since I'm not going to see you because this is an online class, it is vital that you stay in contact with me, especially if there is some kind of extenuating circumstance. If you get mono and you can't get out of bed for 6 weeks, I completely understand, but I need to know that that's what's going on and it's not that you've just decided not to continue the class. So keep me in the loop. The withdrawal deadline without my permission is March 11th. After that date, you have to have my permission to withdraw. During that last week of classes, I will not grant withdrawals unless it's an extenuating circumstance, meaning something came up right then. If you disappear from the class in February and then want to withdraw the first week of May, you're going to get a no. All right. So when you realize that you can't finish the class, you need to ask to withdraw. I'm happy to let you, but don't wait till the last minute. Plagiarism will not be tolerated. You need to produce your own work. Obviously, you're going to be influenced by what your classmates say and what I say and what you read, but it needs to be in your own words and it needs to be your ideas. Again, look at that MLA and plagiarism section for how to avoid it. Most people plagiarize by accident, so if you'll just read through that, it'll give you some tips on how to handle sources so that you don't end up in a plagiarism situation. And I do occasionally have issues of people plagiarizing each other on the discussion board. Again, it's okay to agree, but my advice is to write your discussion board answer before you read what anyone else says. Then go back and read what your classmates had to say and respond to them. Okay. This has to be on the syllabus, the smoking policy. So if you are on SCC's campus, please note the smoking policy. So that is the course. That is our Blackboard shell, your textbooks, everything that you should need to get started. If you have any questions about any of this, you can email me, or you can go to the discussion board and post a question in that Q&A forum, and I will be happy to answer you there and hopefully clarify whatever questions you may have. I look forward to reading your thoughts, talking with you, discussing these issues with you and these topics with you this semester. And please just let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. And let's have a good semester.